Staticky. It's very staticky, Justin. Oh, I don't know what your shit is. Staticky. We gotta get you some new cables, pimp. No, it's all buzz. It's all buzz. You gotta jiggle the cable.
That's not the yes man. That's Goro. Is that? Are you secretly Goro?
Are you secretly Goro?
I knew it all this time. Goro. I mean, I would imagine you have some reason, but I feel a bit ashamed that you've never told us that it was you this entire time. I mean, are you willing to talk about it?
Oh.
Oh, you even kind of sound like you're coming in through a Game Boy. That's fun. Yes, man. No, don't even worry about it. You're good. You sound fine. I shouldn't have said anything. You sound just...
Man, I wonder if Goro is the yes man.
We'll never know. I
think he is at this point. We know for sure. That's definitive lore, so put it in the Wikipedia.
Holy shit. Oh my god. Hey, what an episode.
Oh, that game was great. That game was great.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great. It was great.
Here's the problem is that with Opal, I don't have a monitor on that mic.
Oh.
So I can't tell.
Right. Yeah.
I can't tell when, unless I put my hat on a hat, literally. Like I can't tell what's coming in through there. So that's always nerve-wracking, and I've decided to add 4 more levels of complexity.
Yeah, gotcha.
All right. Man.
Let me pull up the show.
Maybe we'll do a yes lady bit. Yeah.
Oh, yes lady.
Oh, that's right. I will have to call it early tonight because I'm supposed to be somewhere in 7
That's
hours.
Fine. Yeah. Bryce and I can hold down the
we
fort
can hang
for
out
the
for a
after
little
show.
bit.
If you want to bail, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Sure, go for it.
That was a really, really fun one, though.
Yeah.
It was a good game, and it was the exact right amount of silliness and structure that I think works really well for us.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
All right, we'll see you guys.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Boyob.
Justin, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna send you the link here to the Showbot because we're not Showbot, but just to.
Oh, sure, yeah.
The titles.
Is that a text or an email?
It's here in the Skype chat.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
You can click that nice and
Okay,
easy.
cool.
I'll just read out some of them, like beef out of pork, make beef out of salt pork. The Jesus of beef was pretty good. Buff Bonnie, like that. Dean Wind, right from Budimus. Let's see. It's not a game we all win.
Hey, is Bonnie still there, or did Bonnie leave with Brian?
No, Bonnie left. It turns out Bonnie left during Diamond Time.
Oh, gotcha. All right, so for real, it would be fucking like that is like classic radio bit. If like maybe not rep for rep, but if we figured out a like Matt says he can do X amount more than Bonnie, if we literally did like a bench press challenge between the two of them, that is like fucking build it up for 3 months fucking radio bit that would like pay off and be amazing. I would love doing that.
That'd be pretty good. The $6 Million Daddy.
6 million. Wait, where did that even come from? $6 million daddy.
Oh, because he was Brian was saying that the Big Daddy would run like this. You couldn't see it, and I mentioned that.
No.
Thank you for being so cool about the fucking
$6 million
internet.
daddy would. It's a very funny title. It's certainly suggestive, but very funny.
Yeah. Let's see. Goro plans a city. Let's see. Jerry provokes Bryce. A big thumb machine. Okay.
Yeah, that's like Mewtwo, Goro, the 3-finger shit.
Crimpin' ain't easy.
Yeah. I read a website about Japan when I was 10.
Toothy pussy.
That might be. I mean, if $6 million daddy is suggestive, then that's certainly on the other side of that.
Bowser Brushwood. Goro stand.
Goro Stan, I'm actually like into. Like that actually is
Unrepentant
my
Goro
leader.
stand.
That is my leader in the clubhouse right now, just because like that's 2 words, 4 letters each, and you immediately know that fucking someone loves Goro.
That's not bad. Let me see here.
Someone put in there Peach the Cuck, but really it's Peach Cucks Mario. That's
Right.
the real point here. That's
Mario
what we're
gets
trying to
cucked.
say.
Mm.
Mario gets cucked.
Yeah. Constantly. He loves it.
I mean, he keeps coming back, doesn't he? You know, at a certain point. I mean, well, look, I'll say this: there's,
Mhm.
I don't think it's a coincidence. At the end of that last game, they're fucking working together.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's a very funny, almost pratfall moment at the end of Odyssey when Mario saves Peach, and she's like, "Fuck no, I'm not gonna fucking fuck you either." Like, bye, bye.
You're both fucking gross and
Later.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Goro Stan.
Goro Stan, I'm with it.
It doesn't quite give away the ending.
The princess is in another entanglement.
All right. Well, I should be able to write this email while we talk, I bet. Yeah. How about that? What else is going on?
I mean, you know, man, we're just trying to make our way in the world these days.
Get everything you got. Give everything you got.
Tomorrow's episode of PX3 should be good. Looks like we're gonna get a VP announcement next week, if not over the weekend.
Did you see the tweet going around that caught a Politico page that had gotten
I
updated?
tweeted it. Yeah.
How do you if people didn't see it, it says that on August 1st, Biden announced it was Kamala Harris, which is not for 4 more days.
Yep.
And
it had a quote.
It had a quote saying on the ticket.
Release. Yeah, saying, "Oh no, a quote from Biden saying she was a tough opponent, and that's why I knew she would be a great vice president."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anybody who's listened to me knows that I thought that this was fucking in the bag forever ago. I don't think that Biden is a particularly creative campaigner. I think that she is the pick if you want a nationally known, strong Black woman. I don't think that any other Black woman has the kind of name recognition she does, and she fits enough of the qualities of being Lady Obama. And I think that's really, really what they want. Like, if you are going to ask the Biden campaign, if you could make somebody in a lab as your vice president, what would you want? And they would say the person that evokes the sequel to this movie is that now Biden is president with a young female Obama as his vice president. And also there is the vision that I've seen in the flames months and months and months ago. I actually tracked down when I first saw this when I had my premonition that the final image of the DNC is going to be Barack Obama lifting Biden's hand, Biden lifting Kamala Harris's hand, and that's the image they want. They want that, like, literally vote for Biden, the white suspension bridge between the first 2 Black presidents and the first woman president. So I think that this is all
that sounds like
a fucking
something the
thing.
party would try to do.
I know that you were tweeting some very, very cynical things about the Democratic Party, so I will ask you that, as cynically fucking chrome polished as that is. tell me where the lie is. tell me where.
No,
like,
I mean,
the only
that's exactly like the play is to lean closer to the center and to the right, to try to say no, to try to attract Trump voters, and I prefer a progressive agenda, and so whether that's Medicare for all or marijuana legalization, both of which the party just majorly denied this past week.
During their platform, a platform that Bernie Sanders worked really, really hard for, and was literally dismissed on a Zoom call.
Yeah, and so it's certainly frustrating given what this is not my first time seeing a presidential campaign at this point, but if I was 18 or 19 right now and I saw all of this, and I had just recently been activated by the Biden campaign or even the Yang campaign, and any campaign with kind of progressive, I don't know, tent pole platform, I would certainly say, like, fucking, what are we even doing? What are we waiting for? What's it? In any case,
well, beyond the ideology of it, I think that the other interesting thing about it is that if Politico knows it enough that they're fucking pre-programming their website with a thing, which, again, let me just say this: nothing is suspicious about that except for the quote. The Biden quote is the suspicious part,
right?
Because
I think he says the word specifically, or the word specifically is on the ticket in that quote, which is more than just. Is a good person, a great
no.
Yeah.
That's why she'd be great on the ticket. And to my knowledge, that's not an old quote. Like, that's not something that he has previously said about her. The question for Politico would be, so if you're preloading this thing to go live, and by the way, I think it might go live on Saturday because Obama announced Biden as a VP on a Saturday.
Okay. And they say August 1st in that
would make sense,
yeah.
Right? Although that would be Saturday, right? Yeah. The everything else about that, it works out. But if they do know that and they're preloading it into the website, then why are they running these stories today and yesterday about how Kamala's not a lock? Kamala's definitely not a lock. Oh, there's this fucking lady you ain't never heard of from California who's the head of the Congressional Black Caucus. Can I interest you in a little Susan Rice?
Do you
maybe the lady who couldn't even make Secretary of State because of Benghazi? Maybe she's the one. Want to know why? Because they're feeding you jobbers. They're feeding you people that you'd be like, oh, I don't know about Susan Rice. I don't know about this other lady I've never heard of. Because when Kamala hits, you'll be like, well, at least he didn't pick these other people that I very recently had strong feelings about.
I'll tell you, I felt like the past few weeks when we really didn't hear from the Biden campaign were certainly better than this. I don't know. It's very tough. It's very weird being in where we are now, where we've got any number of adjectives you'd like to describe Donald Trump in the White House, and a Democratic Party that should be trying its hardest, while also wanting to be like, well, like I would consider myself part of the party. I would like to hope that I could have influence by holding my vote to have platform policies that I would like to see. But that's not how any of this works. That's not how any of this is designed to work.
No.
And that is what it is.
So people are asking why you would announce on a Saturday because you wouldn't own a weekly news cycle. The reason why you announce on a Saturday in politics is because, yes, even in 2020, the people that fucking really are dialed into politics care about the Sunday shows. Meet the Press and Fox News Sunday. Those Sunday shows are the things that still in politics set the agenda for the week. It's where the power players make their announcement. And so for them, owning the Sunday shows is actually more valuable to them than owning like a week's worth of other content.
Yeah.
Old people shows. And
Makes
guess who's
sense.
making these decisions? Old fucking people. Like, I don't think that you need to. Those Sunday shows are fucking irrelevant. It's literally the only people that give a fuck about them are DC people and people who used to work in DC. So it's like, I guess, like, it's basically just like making sure that you're showing up for like your friend's birthday party. Like, it's just that you just know all your friends are going to watch it.
Yeah. What else is going on? Oh man, didn't I just see? I feel like I just saw something. I don't remember what it was. A little bit of good news in the saga of Deadspin. You see those guys start up a new sports site?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, Defector Media is what it's called. It's similar to Discourse Blog, which was a lot of Splinter people, and they started.
Okay.
They made it's interesting because Discourse Blog is on Substack, so it's like it is a website, but it's mostly a paid email newsletter, and you can get free posts. But
yeah,
they just recently turned on the subscription, and it looks like Defector Media will probably be something very similar, where it's you can pay to get.
Who? Which of the people do we know?
Let me see if I can get the
really
names here.
determines how excited I am, because Deadspin. Look, Deadspin was really a very formative site for the beginning of me giving a fuck about blogs and the internet. But that site has all right. So Tom Lay, Maygery,
Dave McKenna, Drew Maygery, Dave McQuaid, Seymour Calif.
Pacheski.
I don't.
Ray Ratto. That's so funny. Ray Ratto has like been a columnist in the Bay Area for fucking ever, and now he's kind of like gotten like swept up in this like guerrilla revolutionary thing. That's a lot of people on the masthead to fucking spread around whatever money's coming in. That'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Do you, of these people, there's probably maybe a couple dozen names here. How many do you recognize? Because I did not read a lot of Deadspin, and so I maybe recognize Drew Maygery as someone whose tweets Ashley Feinberg has retweeted once, but most of these names I don't know personally.
Drew Maygery would be the biggest name.
Okay.
I really, really like him as a writer, and I've read his first book, the book he read about sports. I really liked. In fact, his book on sports, I think it's like Men with Balls or something like that. That was one of the few books that I've ever read where I was laughing out loud in public. I was reading it in public in the New York Department of Buildings, and I was embarrassing myself laughing out loud. It's very, very funny. It was like something, I remember the line specifically was that you like baseball used to be fucking awesome. You would go to the ballpark dressed in a suit and then drink Coke with cocaine in it. Like there was just something about that idea that I just thought was like fucking really great. And his writing is very, very bold. The problem with Maygery, here, let me say, to answer your question, probably 5 or 6.
Okay.
But really, like, of those, only like bylines. And then when things became like, I'm quitting, I remember people saying, oh my God, I can't believe this guy is quitting.
Gotcha.
So I wouldn't,
it's a more
work,
tone of the website than specific names.
I just know them as, oh, those are Deadspin names.
Gotcha.
Like, I just know that they are of a thing. But Maygery also used to write another website that I was actually a gigantic fan of called Kissing Susie Colbert. And that was all guys that met because they were the funniest people in the Deadspin comments. Like the Deadspin comments were so rich that it spun off another gigantic successful website that a lot of those other guys have gone on to do other big shit.
Well, I kind of look at this and like, you know, Deadspin shut down before Splinter did, and Splinter turned Discourse Blog around pretty quickly. But I wonder kind of what took so long. Now they did do a couple of periods. I don't know if you saw these where with what was it called, Untitled Sports Blog, where they would get sponsored by a week for like I don't know, a juice company or something, and then they would just do Deadspin like posts for a week.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe some of that kept it afloat, but it's interesting it took them so long to spin this up. I don't know.
Writing is easy, business is hard.
Yeah.
So it's like, especially when by the end, Deadspin, and look, there's been a lot of conversation about unions and fair pay and all that in blogs. You can't then end that site there and then be like, cool, everybody works for free, right? Like
Yeah.
that, you can't flip that around like that when these guys are all used to getting paid X amount of money, and now you got to figure out where the money comes in. And so it's like Substack. I assume Substack is doing a lot of recruiting of finding people to come onto their platform, because I've heard their name a lot.
I wonder, because
lately.
I think they're an open platform. Like, I think you can just go and use it.
Oh no, I'm sure they are, but
Oh.
every, let's say theoretically, even a site that we're broadcasting on right now that's very open,
Mhm.
like they find people that would be good for the platform and
Yeah.
make them a deal to come on.
But yeah, that's pretty cool. I every so often I would see a Deadspin article and be like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't know why you.
Problem with
would fuck
Deadspin is that Deadspin really went through a lot of different, and this was kind of the fun part about the website, is that it went through a lot of eras. Like the era that I really fell in love with initially was this dude, Will Leach, who was like very aw shucks kid from Indiana, now in the big city, that like there was just a lot of like very excited things about like blogging, and then excited when like people in big media would notice the blog and stuff like that. Like that was like the exciting part about it. And then the guy that came after that was very tawdry. That was AJ Delorio, who eventually brought down fucking Gawker because of the Hulk Hogan shit. But like he got his start in Deadspin, like just reprinting random stories of like ESPN hosts being fucking Lotharios, or like cheating on their wives and stuff like that. Like just running a ton of like super gossipy shit, and including at probably its nadir, Brett Favre's penis. They like ran a picture of Brett Favre's penis that he had sent to some lady. And then like at the point that Deadspin died, Gawker had already gone through, AJ had already fucking like blown up the money in Gawker, right? So like as soon as the money stopped flowing and they had to sell it off, it was always going to be a problem. But also it's like the direction that it went became, and I'm not like a stick to sports guy. I very much like the intersection of politics and sports, obviously, because I care a lot about both. But uh it seemed to me like they were fighting against their editors more than they were trying to think about making great content. And it became about so much of their most famous shit in the final era was about, they won't let us do this, instead of like, hey, here's cool, fun content
Yeah.
that you would like.
And as a total outsider to it, like I get the story behind, I get the meta story behind it of like, hey,
sure,
we've got these suits and they're pushing us in these weird ways and they're doing X, Y, and Z. But that doesn't always make it into the words, right? Like some of that stuff is like off-site stuff. I think it's cool that they're set up some sort of, I don't know how they're set up, but they own whatever this new thing is. They are, I think they, in the New York Times, were quoted saying like, we want to make a website where all of us who are here are making a competitive salary and full stop, not chasing venture capitalist growth and stuff. And it's like, hey, hell yeah.
I mean, look, living proof, you can do it.
Yeah.
I'm making a decent salary. I'm making a salary that I wouldn't have otherwise made, doing exactly what I want anywhere else on the internet. So
Mhm.
fucking it is the American dream. I encourage them to fucking go out and get it. I'm curious to know their leadership. I'm curious
Mm.
to know who actually makes the calls. I'm curious to know how fireable any of those people are, because here's what I'd say. Man, if the money ain't what it should be,
Yeah.
some people
You're
like,
gonna get some upset folk. Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
or it's like, it'll be like, oh, well, the reach isn't what you want it to be. When you're a writer and you're used to getting X amount of audience, like, the
And it's been so long since all of that heat. Like, you hope
yeah,
that they can pick up all of, what seemed like every journalist online's, kind of backing of like, hey, like, definitely, like, management is overstepping. Like,
fuck management, fucking, like, yeah, for the people.
right. And like, hey, that was pre-coronavirus. Like, I don't know if you realize like how much shit has happened since then. So
Yeah, I mean, a subscription is an interesting idea. Um,
who knows?
it certainly violates. Well, I mean, I guess if you're moving it as a Deadspin thing, like, it certainly. I don't know if it violates Brushwood's model of where attention, interest, and money should go, but like,
Hmm.
I do think that. I mean, look, it's they got to redefine themselves, and I don't know how much you can do that from behind a paywall. The most successful paywall shit that I've seen are either gigantic fucking brands that can just say, all right, well, if we throw a paywall up, X amount of people are gonna fucking come in, and that's gonna be enough money, or like scoop heavy shit. The
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, if you want the beat writers, if you want the people that are like covering stuff, and then maybe they even go a little early with like some reporting, but you are happy about it because you're paying for it,
Yeah.
then they're with it.
Because even like $8 a month is their unlimited articles. It's their bottom tier, and like again, total outsider on Deadspin, $8 a month is beefy. And then if
beefy.
you want to comment, like their $12 a month is like you get commenting, they've got Q&As, you get discounts in a newsletter, whatever. But like it's if I think it's for I guess the idea is like this is for people who all of the planets align, right? This is for like I love all of these people and they're going to do a podcast and I'm going to want to support that, and that's the audience, and maybe that's it. Maybe they think it's
All
gonna
I'm
work.
saying is this:
There.
is that in the final phase of Deadspin, boy, were there a lot of videos that like the gimmick was these are fucking bullshit videos. Like, it was like talking about some old baseball cards. And that was one of those things where I'm like, you guys are literally just doing garbage because you're being told that fucking video CPMs are higher than fucking print CPMs. So you're just creating fucking like
Mm-hmm.
garbage, like
Sure.
fairly unwatchable garbage. And I get it. I guess that's what you were doing. But also, it's like, it didn't sell the idea that you guys are really fucking going the extra mile. And I'll tell you one thing that was like, that actually did get my gut, and it was about Megary too, is like Deadspin, again, made its bones, and Megary is part of it, on being ruthless with privacy. Like, breaking agreements not to share shit, fucking publishing a man's dick on the internet. Like, no matter how famous, like, that is publishing a man's dick on the internet without his consent. Like, there's a lot of shit there that was built into the DNA. And then about 2 years ago, I guess Megary got injured,
Mm.
and they were like, we're not going to talk about what happened to him.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I mean, like, if there's ever a moment where I felt like I'm not in favor of necessarily putting all that shit out there, but at the same time, if you're going to live by that sword, boy, is it a bad look when it happens to you and you have something that I'm sure is fucking really embarrassing, like that you don't want to talk about, that affects other people's lives. You're going to be like, we're putting the privacy curtain down. It's like, oh, that's kind of like for me as a longtime fan, I was like, man, that's kind of whack.
Speaking of kind of whack, I'm sure you saw this last week. Sources say Comcast, Spectrum, no, not Spectrum, Comcast, is going to bring back G4 for the web.
You want to know what? Here, play that video, because I'm going to use the bathroom real quick.
I'll play this video. There's no
play
video.
a video. Yeah,
Here's the video.
I'll be right back.
What is this?
Derek, are you here, my boy? It's time
That was
for
some
our
like machinima thing.
My goodness, these paintings must have cost you a fortune.
So, I'm Dirk Ruddy.
Dirk, I warned you to be more careful with your finances. Our film will be fiscally feasible.
I mean, this
but
was
we
like
do need some
this was a technological
Now,
marvel
how
at the
much
time,
have
right?
you
Doing
left?
machinima.
Uh-oh, I'm broke. It's your fault.
My fault?
You didn't warn me enough.
That's preposterous.
Why didn't
Let's see what else. But so man, there's a long skit. Who's this guy?
It might actually force him to flash recall words in a desperation to communicate. Anyway, this all makes sense in a minute. Val, you ready?
Yes, Dave.
Then pass
Oh,
me
a
up.
robot co-host.
Hi, Bernie.
Oh, it's-
Bernie, I have something really important to talk to you about today, okay? Okay. Now, Bernie, I
a
need
little
you.
rabbit or a
Dave,
little badger guy.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I am experiencing a problem with oxygen flow in the hub.
Is this a whole scripted thing? A bunch
right.
of Sims stuff? Do they do voiceovers or a Sims footage?
Please remember, all bathroom appliances must be
They
cleaned.
do. This is okay. Interesting. So G4, G4 used to be a channel. Used to be a television channel when you had the television. Formerly was ZDNet, and then Tech TV, and then became G4. We went from talking about tech to talking about games. X-Play, Attack of the Show, Cinephile, I think was one of the things. A bunch of gaming shit, as well as like millions of reruns of Cops and Cheaters. So now sources say that G4 will be back as a web platform, not on TV. And part of the news story, I know when this broke, they talked about this a bit on Daily Tech News Show and pointed out how many personalities who were so central to G4 seemed to not know that this was a thing that was going to happen. Justin, you have a little bit of a history with G4.
Yeah, I wrote.
The G4 Underground? Something Underground?
I don't even know what my actual title was on that. I was in LA. I was helping produce a show. I guess booking guests, producing, whatever. Yeah, G4 Underground, hosted by Morgan Webb and produced by Andrew Main and Mary Jarris. That was a really, really fun thing. But in general, I was not the biggest fan of G4 as a channel. It always kind of seemed a little bit unfocused to me. But obviously nostalgia is a hell of a drug. I have no idea what the fuck they're gonna do. Although I mean, like, I really liked Merrill's platform that they were gonna use it as a free channel. That now that seems to be getting more of a hot space with Pluto, and Peacock has free channels and shit like that. Like these,
I think,
it turns out free TV is back, baby.
Yeah, I think Peacock being an outlet for it makes some amount of sense. The only thing about it is like those channels, those are like 24-hour channels. Like also on Peacock is what is it? Today All Day or something like that, where it's just like we are just running 24 hours of the Today Show, and it's the actual show, and it's archive segments, and it's new segments, And with games coverage, I don't know that you have a 24-hour. I don't know what it's, I like, because it always seemed like G4 had.
Fuck that. Licensed speed runs and shit, or fucking literally if it was like whatever programming and then GDQ shit for the rest of the day, there's plenty of game stuff that you could find hypnotic, literally just to put on in the background if all you wanted was the game's equivalent of an old Today episode.
I suppose so. And there are like channels like that on Pluto, right? There's a channel that's just like, here's a bunch of Minecraft YouTubers. Here's a bunch of Roblox YouTubers who let us, give them $50 or something for their videos. But I don't know. I guess this is going to sound weird, but it definitely seems like too low rent for the shiny, glittery new Peacock. Like I guess like it makes sense to fill out the day schedule with licensed content or some sort of actual gameplay content for sure. And there's some.
One would argue it would actually be more true to the original idea of G4 than G4 itself was by running cops and shit and live PD or whatever the fuck else they were running.
Mm-hmm. And Tucker Roberts, who is a part of this, owns or I guess runs a bunch of esports leagues or esports teams. So there's certainly a lot of higher quality or produced content around esports. There is a fount of content.
So wait, did he buy it from Comcast, or is this still a Comcast NBC thing?
Comcast owns the property, led by Spectator Gaming president Tucker Roberts, who oversees Comcast owns these esports leagues or teams.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So he is within the system, and the system owns these teams. So, but then
and he's also the son of the CEO. Fucking amazing, of course.
So, then that calculus starts to make more sense, right? Here are esports games.
Oh, no, this totally makes all the sense in the world if this is the fucking son of the CEO. Because
I
now
understand it, but
No. Here's why it makes sense. What this was a launch that, tell you what, credit to the kid. It fucking resonated with an element of the internet. In fact, one might say that it resonated so much with an element of the internet that maybe they should have had a fucking product to push this heat to, right?
Yeah, something to announce.
But then again, if you're gonna look at it as like, okay, no, this is all this cost was fucking whatever it cost to make that video, and a promise to Adam Sessler that he'd be involved in some shit, and like they got whatever heat that is, then don't look at it as wasted heat. Let's look at it as what the Deadpool leaked footage was, right? It's like, okay, so we're gonna push it to 2021. We'll figure out what we're gonna do then. How do you get that much money and have no plan? Be the fucking son of the CEO. And that's why it has money. It had money enough to do a little fucking rollout. But they don't have a product, and there's no immediate launch on yes, this is gonna be coming to Peacock. This is the reason why you want to be invested in this platform, because we're thinking about fucking shit that's gonna happen in 2021. We're not worrying about exactly what we're doing now. Here's our year plan, and it's going to include content like a new rebranded G4. And by the way, we're going to have Sessler involved. We're going to have fucking some product produced by Olivia Munn, because Olivia Munn probably doesn't want to fucking host anything right now, but I'm sure it'd be worth it for her to take her fourth most exciting video game centric idea and fucking produce it for whatever the G4 is. But they have none of that infrastructure there because they don't really have a fucking plan, is my guess. They just wanted to, roll it out.
It's really interesting. I look at
wait, is this motherfucker dating Olivia Munn?
That's what Sunbun says. So
It's the funniest shit. My God. I really like I've gone through so much of my life being fascinated by rich kids that like you just gotta say it's gotta hand it to them. At a certain point, it's like, man, like anytime that you get mad at a rich kid, you just gotta understand that it's just rank jealousy. Like it's just like, man, it'd be fucking really nice. Like, if you could take any ambition you had and just fucking parlay it. Like, I'm not saying this guy is or isn't talented. There's a lot of rich kids that are really talented. There's a lot of rich kids that are fuck ups, but like, uh, whew, whew,
Hmm.
must be nice. Must be nice.
I look at like uh I look at who's making games content now, and it's a lot of the bigger things that are not just a single person who's got a single channel that is about that person, is like small groups of talent and production talent. Giant Bomb, which is like 10 people at this point.
Yeah.
You look at Kind of Funny, which is got a games division, which I can't even wrap my head around what the Kind of Funny shit is. You have Easy Allies, which is also like 6 to 8 people. They're doing podcasts, they're doing streams and stuff, doing, I guess, sort of odd stuff. I actually don't watch too much of those various collectives, but they are, I don't know. I guess if this is truly going to be a web-based thing, then it would make sense for it to look like those things, which are podcast and long form heavy, long gameplay focused stuff in terms of like, here we're going to stream for 2 hours.
Well, yeah, all right, but if that's the case, then what if the top of that chain is Sessler, Morgan Webb, Kevin Pereira, and then up and comers like them plus some people that are doing good shit now on YouTube that aren't a part of like a collective like that or podcasting or reviewing or whatever.
Yeah.
Like put them all together as your starting 6. And that seems like like if you want to microwave a Giant Bomb, if you want to microwave a fucking Kind of Funny, like have your established people and then promise the idea of a television thing coming out later.
I think that's a good idea, and I think the linchpin on that is getting tons of old talent, right? Getting Adam Sessler to give up his consulting gig that he's doing. I don't know anything about what Olivia Munn is up to. I guess she's in a relationship with the guy.
Yeah.
Kevin Pereira, don't know what he's up to, but it seems like he's probably in an okay spot to do that. I think if you get those people, if you get the names that people will remember, I think that gives you the boost, and that gives you a platform to also introduce newer names, and you can do something cheap. I guess in my head, I'm looking at this as like, what does the version of this look like that outputs to Peacock? Because I have to imagine that, well, I guess I don't know, but
the portion of this shit that outputs to Peacock is the reason why you have television talent. Like, because you don't need television talent to do the thing that you're talking about. Like, you need web talent, and the thing about web talent is that you are working a lot, and you are doing a lot of shit by yourself. You are fucking like really, really grinding because, the definition of web talent is cool. I'll do it. We'll figure out the money later, even when the money's good. That's not the issue with TV talent, and TV talent is in its own way rarer. You need to broadcast, and brand means a lot, especially in the fact that since G4 went off the air, there is no television representation for video games in the way that G4 was.
Right.
Like, there's no big mainstream thing like that. It is all moved online. So if they are effectively the like Walter Cronkites of a fucking dead thing, then there's literally nobody else with their talent. So what you want, if you're Peacock or you're Comcast and you're bringing a G4 representation to Peacock, is you want people that are good on television, are good on television, and you can bring on to the Today Show so you can cross promote G4 on only exclusively on Peacock. Like you want talent that is going to be able to do that. Even if people, even the Today Show audience doesn't know them, they'll like them. They'll like Morgan Webb. They'll like Adam Sessler. They'll like Kevin Pereira, and they'll like anybody else they hire there.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just conflicted about this. I think I was maybe a little young, and I don't think we ever really got G4. So I only have kind of limited exposure to it. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Like at the time, it was also like it was outside of the Jeff Keighley Game Awards stuff. Like is the only like video games content that was on television.
Yeah.
But I think since even before it went off the air, like I think
Since You've Been Gone.
Did you know Dr. Luke wrote Since You've Been Gone?
Wouldn't doubt it.
The Kesha guy, and he's
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
no, he's like fucking. He's one of those dudes. Like there's just like these runs of like pop producer people,
Mhm.
that like are just epic when you actually look at, like, for a while it was The Matrix. They were like behind like a lot of Avril Lavigne shit, like, but they were like one of those things where it's like, oh, everybody from 2000 to 2008, like we're all written by the same people.
Oh, interesting. Actually, I had a little tweet thread last night about a guy in Japan who was like having that moment. He what was it? He had the #1 song per Billboard in 2018 and in 2019. He's like written a bunch of songs for the Olympics. He's done all these major collaborations before. And what's interesting is like he's kind of a young guy, and before this he was making Hatsune Miku music, the like Vocaloid, like virtual pop star.
Yeah.
He was just making web music like that. It's super cool, and now he's like literally the hottest guy over there.
So yeah, a lot of people are pointing out like hip hop producers like Scott Storch and Timberland, but like Dr. Luke and stuff like that, like they're often also the writers. Like they like write the lyrics and produce the music, and like that's their worth to the label, is they're like, hey, I got a song, or maybe they'll work with their songwriters or whatever, but like they are the clearinghouse for the music and the lyrics, and then they find the talent, and the label matches them with like, oh yeah, cool, that kind of sounds like a blank song. And
like Dr. Luke is one of those producers where they're like an executive producer, right? Like
yes,
they'll write the whole album and they'll produce the whole album or most of it. And it like suddenly you have like, I don't know, that person's voice handling talent, you know, in any case. It was interesting. I was looking something up.
And for the record, that's where it gets fucking like really gross, and where it got really gross with Dr. Luke is when you have that much control. And it's like, hey, I got this pre-written album of fucking shit that the label's like super horny for. If you fuck me, it's yours. That's what brings that transactional relationship, is what makes everything fucking
it's
super gross.
It is weird. In any case, G4. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do. If they can get some old talent on board, which is like the reason you do the G4 name is because you want to tap into the nostalgia and get people excited by the names that they remember. But I think standards have changed so much in games coverage that it went from like it's the TV channel, it's the only major media thing, to like now it's online, and major media is smaller, and all of the ones doing it now do it better. It doesn't feel
but also
broy.
I would say that #1, the direction of G4 was always fucking confused. I don't think anybody from an executive level gets it, right? Or got it when it was out, when G4 was on. As much as we have made fun of the rich kid, to credit the rich kid, if he fucking grew up loving G4 and fucking has a very deep a reverence for it and fucking wants and understands why it mattered to the people that it mattered, then I do think that, like, I don't think that we will die without there being a television or whatever television turns into in this OTT world version of video games coverage. Video games are too fucking big. They're too fucking culturally relevant for there to be a mass media clearinghouse for it. Like, if there's 4 sports channels, there can be one. Now, you're right, and this is where I think that in terms of the execution, you really need to be fucking motivated, because the question for anybody who's restarting G4 is, yeah, how are you better than Giant Bomb? Because everybody that fucking plays video games is online. So, like, why aren't you just watching YouTube? Why aren't you just like, you have to have, you better fucking have a very compelling reason
because the
why
overhead
this shit is must tune in.
Yeah, I mean, I have to assume that there's an insane amount of overhead to just being on TV or to even be on a Peacock, right?
Well, the question is what we think of TV right now, because in the world where what's booming right now is the Pluto shit, and that is literally just like licensing. It's a touch more involved than Chive TV, right? Like, it's effectively Chive TV. So now that that's lowered a little bit, like, again, can you do 3 hours a day of live content and then literally just pack it with a bunch of other licensed shit? Like, is that that's not what we would think of television. That's not 10 hours of program content. That's not 24 hours of program content.
But G4 didn't do 3 hours of content a day. I mean, with as much, I mean, it is known as the cops and cheaters channel for a reason, right? Like, they
well,
couldn't even fill the
that was by
airwaves.
the time. I mean, it was they had cleared it out to be reprogrammed as another thing, and then didn't, and so they just literally left it until advertising contracts expired. Like, the question is, for Peacock, for Comcast, and for people who like free television. And that's what this is really a play for. If Meryl's correct, which I think is a good idea, it's a good concept, then, like, what is the expectation? Because if you're doing 3 hours of fucking really compelling live content a day and the rest of it is just fucking GDQ shit, then, like, is that over delivering on what free television is right now? Is that something that now, like, you do want to watch? The one thing that I think that they're always going to have a problem getting over is that, like, for the video game audience, live is basically a shittier version of VOD.
Oh yeah.
Like, unless it's Twitch and you're, like, locked in for hours because, like, it's its own brand of content.
But like Giant Bomb is the one, like, gaming thing I do follow quite a bit, and because of coronavirus and their studio is shut down, all they're doing every day of the week is, like, literally 6 hours of live Twitch stuff. And I hate it. I can't stand it. I don't like it at all. And so I don't know. I think what an interesting thing for this to take let's build the perfect G4 in 2020 or 2021, whatever.
Yeah.
Big podcast 2 days a week, and it's 90 to 120 minutes long. 2 days a week for a big podcast. News, talking about games, reviews, and shit, whatever. A news component, a news site component in the style of a Kotaku or a Eurogamer, written content, because there are not a lot of written news content sites that are very good, I don't think, in gaming content. And even none of them have been able to break out of the the idea, like, okay, no, it's gonna be games, we're gonna focus on games, and then 12 months later we have to talk about a bunch of Netflix shit just to keep the wheels
lights on,
spinning.
yeah.
And so I bet they do some sort of written portion like that, possibly. Okay, so podcast, written portion of the site, live web stream component, whether it's gameplay stuff or that's how they put out video content. That's how they do an Attack of the Show.
Here's the thing, right? If you're gonna do G4, either what you're explaining is I'm gonna make a website.
Yeah,
And I'm going to make a multimedia fucking platform that is going to primarily wrap around a website wherein we're going to cover stuff and we're going to create all the content's going to flow from there, right?
Mhm.
G4 is not that brand. Now you can rebrand G4 as this, and now it is G4 in POG form, right? But G4, the brand is we do television. Like, remember when we were trying to sell the Contender, we did all these puppet videos, right? And one of the lessons that we learned was that, like, we got pretty good at doing puppet videos. They didn't sell fucking shit for games. Because guess what people who fucking buy games wanted? More of the game. They wanted expansions. They didn't want fucking puppet videos. They didn't need like this dream that we were going to reach a larger audience because we did another thing separate was really only getting better at doing another thing. So if G4 wants to be television, then they got to figure out what television means to them. Like if it's about showcasing this veteran talent, then they got to figure out how to showcase the veteran talent in the way that makes them fucking really, really strong.
So Sunbun brought up Venn.tv, which I had seen a little bit before. It will be, they say it's going to be a TV network coming August 2020. And the two heads of that are a former NBC guy and a former EA guy. So, as well as a Vivendi guy, Vivendi Universal. So look at that. I think if you have this TV product, however big it is, that's being propped up by, I guess these are Twitch people. I don't know a single person that I've got on screen here. And then G4 is a show on that thing that is, or I don't know. Part of the G4 news was like, it's not going to be a TV thing. It's going to be a web thing. But
yeah,
I don't know what this is going to be. They say it's a TV network. I don't know if you're going to watch it on TV, if you're going to watch it online. But I don't know. It's you're right that like G4 is TV and people remember it as TV. But
well, and I mean that's what the brand is.
The brand
like
is.
when you and so it's like, look, you can do something different with the brand, but you got to be very you have to make it a concerted effort. And so it's like, all right, if they're going to launch as a digital thing, then that's fine. Then it's going to be G4 the new chapter, right?
Right.
And do you have the advantage over a Venn? Well, I'll tell you what, they definitely have an advantage over Venn in terms of Twitter followers because Venn has 10,000, and I'm sure the G4 Twitter that was fucking dormant probably has.
Let me see if we can find one. But yeah, I really don't know.
Now I'm trying to search for fucking G4 and it's all a bunch of people thirsty as fuck to try to get hired by G4. That being said, that's powerful. That is its own currency. Like there is a love for G4 that like I do not have.
Yeah. Attack of the Show 160
Yeah,
followers.
ARDS is fucking 160,000. So it's like, all right. So you want to know what a brand value is? That's a brand value. A brand value is Attack of the Show is coming back. What? Let me follow Attack of the Show. I can't believe I never followed them. Fucking when Venn's like, we're gonna do a video game, literally the exact same thing, probably a more fleshed out plan than G4 has. People are like, cool. Let me know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'll wait and see if your shit is good.
Because we really don't know the value. I still don't know that we know the value of like because Venn, looking at Venn and looking at all of these faces on Venn, I would assume these are all like Twitch people. Because I don't know what else they would be. Or
they look look.
YouTube people or
They look-
esports people?
I'd buy YouTube. They look pretty. So my guess would be YouTube or this is an LA casting thing.
Sunmun says YouTubers. Okay.
Okay. If it's YouTubers, then I get it. YouTubers are pretty. Twitch streamers, not as pretty.
Look at us. Look at the two
Not
of
as
us.
pretty.
Come on. Not as
We're
pretty.
the only two, really. Like that's other than that, just fucking a bunch of uggos.
So people keep saying a porn star, Sasha Grey, is a part of
Oh
this.
shit! One of them,
Oh.
Sasha Grey.
Wait, I guess
Yeah, that's
A1.
Sasha Grey.
Oh.
Yeah.
okay. See, now I'm looking at this like these could be porn people. He's definitely a porn
don't
guy.
know
He's definitely a porn guy.
Well, now you're just
I know.
fucking
Now I'm just-
deciding
now I'm
whether or not
gawking.
people are porn.
It's so weird, man. Games content, man. I don't know. I guess time will tell. But
Well, for me, you will tell me if anything interesting happens, because that's how I experience games content.
Speaking of games content, just since we're probably going to wrap up here in a bit.
Yeah.
I was on the Drunk Kids Gaming podcast this past week, and
Oh, those sweet boys. How are my sweet boys?
they're doing good. They're doing real good. I always make their show go really long when I'm on it, and
Yeah.
this week was no exception. We spent about 40 minutes talking about the hot topic from a couple weeks ago. If new video games will start to cost $70 instead of $60, and what things like Game Pass, which are a $15 a month subscription, might look like to how video games get designed in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I am not as dialed into whether or not 60 or 70 is a big material difference. My general thought with a lot of this kind of stuff is that if games like movies are under more and more of a pressure to produce, and so you're only making them bigger and larger and gaudier, but that means that they have to succeed on massive levels because studios can crumble if you don't pump out enough. If you don't have like one or two big eaters pay for all the other subsidies and experiments, then everything falls apart. Then I would presume if it's following that same trajectory, then yeah, the single price would be the same. Where I think it's very, very interesting is the idea of subscriptions, because in a post Netflix model, the idea of stories being serialized and stories maybe being a little bit more fluid and longer is a really interesting thing. And you could take something like, some of these franchises and say like, all right, well, instead of charging a get in the door price of 60, but then really fucking bilking you for the $30 to $40 DLC packages that are going to come out afterward, maybe the money on the subscriptions is enough that we're just like open and honest about saying like, hey, this is going to be, a 1 year long experience where we're going to put out the majority of the game, and then we're going to put out 2 different adventures, and now it's like a yay, I've been paying $15 all these months.
Yeah.
And not like a fuck you, you're making a crippled game without DLC, you fuckers.
Yeah, and like the live game experience over the past couple of years has like found some footing, right? You look at No Man's Sky, which launched in such a bad place, and now every time they launch a major update, it's wow, look at how much they keep continuing to support this game years later. You got Sea of Thieves, which is a Game Pass game from Microsoft that they keep putting out good size updates for. Even like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Online, which are free to play, or they're free if you buy the other part of the game. Those keep getting free big content updates at their own pace. But it makes me think that like we will also see games. We'll see games that are designed for more of those live update roadmaps. Like even Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing gets a big update every month or so now.
Yeah,
just to add new big features. They just announced them the other day.
I'm fucking aware, dude. I live
And
Ashley singing the song in the other room. Yeah, no, that's
so you see
and
games with like
it's been huge, yeah.
with a softer launch that have a larger roadmap, or but are like a live game type experience, or we just see smaller games. And the idea is that they're gonna be on a Game Pass, they're gonna be on EA Origin, whatever.
The question is where the path of smaller games lives that's off mobile and off Steam. Like, I think that there is inherent built-in elements to mobile because you spend less time, spend a lot of time, but it's in shorter bursts. On mobile, and Steam has always been like, the people that love Steam have always been almost like the music nerds of gaming, where it's like you love digging deep in the record bin, you love trying some shit out, and your tolerance for like, here's a cheap game or a free game or something, it's like, okay, I kind of don't care. But when you find a gem, you're like, yes. Like, everybody I know that loves Steams loves talking to each other about like the cool little indie game that happens. And a lot of Twitch has been kind of built on that as well, because it has such a dramatic need for content.
Yeah.
The question is, once you're paying money, what that expectation is, and whether or not, like on a Netflix series, especially early on, it was like, once they went into original content, ultimately they hit altitude. But like, you watch House of Cards and you're like, fuck yeah, that's crazy. I bet you none of this will be problematic in 6 years. And then it was like some random shit that was like, Eli Roth's third best idea that didn't star anybody. And you're like, well, this sucks. I guess Netflix is the place where there's one good show and the rest of it is fucking garbage.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they caught wind and they did it, but that's hard because there's a lot of subscription services that fucking die because maybe they spend a bunch of money on one really cool thing, but they can't keep it going. And I bet you that's the same problem with the game studio.
Well, and Game Pass is Microsoft. Microsoft runs and owns Game Pass, so all of those studios that Microsoft has bought over the past couple of years to make first-party games, they've said like, hey, we're going to have all these studios making games. All of those games will come to Game Pass. So when Halo comes out, it's also just free on Game Pass.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is really smart, but also when that's they had a big show last week about all the new games coming from Microsoft stuff. And it's a lot of cross-gen stuff. It's a lot of stuff that's not taking advantage of the new, very expensive box that they're going to put out this holiday season. And so that means you're making games for older hardware with compatibility for the old Xbox. You're probably going to make smaller games. You're going to make games that, hey, we can say that there's a new title coming out this month on Game Pass. So I don't know. That's just my inkling.
I just think it's hard. The only thing I would say about Microsoft is that Microsoft makes money. Microsoft and Amazon. Well, Amazon's a different business, but Microsoft and Google and fucking Amazon are all in the cement business. They are selling the ingredient that makes the internet go in terms of online storage. That's what makes them their money. Microsoft also has their licensing shit that they've had forever. They also have their enterprise shit. But right now, the big thing is Azure. For Amazon, it's AWS. For Google, it's fucking G Cloud or whatever. The rumor was that Satya Nadella wanted to fucking sell off Xbox when he first became the CEO. All I would say with looking at how quickly they cut on Mixer, and Mixer is not Xbox. Mixer fucking was hemorrhaging cash. But like, I would not bet like.
But if you look at Game Pass, like now Xbox has, because Xbox's service used to be Xbox Live and you pay to play online. Well, now that's Game Pass, right? Now people will, and because I don't know, it's the thing that I see online is like, oh, well, I've got to get Game Pass because all of the good Xbox games, all the reasons you get a console for the exclusive content.
Yeah.
And so suddenly you're selling a box and getting people a new reason to say, well, I'm going to give you $15 a month also for this thing. And I bet that's, there are a lot of reasons that happens, right? All of those new studios need time to actually start making new games and get out of their existing contracts. But
I'm not arguing with you on where the game studio perspective is. I'm saying that they better hope it succeeds, because I don't think Microsoft, increasingly now that Azure has kind of taken off in the way that it has, like the point for Microsoft will be more a Stadia-like experience than an Xbox hardware-like experience, in my opinion, because Azure works into the Stadia-like experience. It doesn't work into you have a console experience in the same kind of way.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they've got xCloud, which is going to be a game streaming service for free on top of all that stuff. Yeah.
And I think that's where you might see stuff going. But then again, of course, Game Pass would kind of come into that as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up.
All right, we got to go. Thank you, everybody. The guys will be back with Happy Hour tomorrow.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be back with that. Well, because Brian's not going to be here.
Oh, because he's got the thing.
So he might just be back on Thursday.
Okay, good to know. I'll let you know. Well, keep your Twitch notifications on. How about that? Friday Night Bryce coming up on Friday. And then that'll probably be it. I don't know. Maybe stuff on the weekend. Hope you guys have a good rest of your evening. Thanks, Juice.
See ya.
Putting it down.